For us, I still think the first goal we give away is they'll look back and go, it's a poor one. It's a poor one to concede, isn't it?
I think both teams did it though early on, didn't they?
Yeah, they did.
They give chances away. Certainly in the first 5 or 10 minutes.
Should we take it back to the start then? Should we take it back to the very start? Of course, we had Asensio, Rashford starting for us. They look bright, but Liverpool really, in the first 5 minutes even, really came at Villa.
Yeah, they did. I think there was obviously a tactic to play out and build up from Villa, but it invited some pressure early on. And certainly with a few passes a bit loose at the start, brought that pressure on a little bit more. I think Liverpool were guilty of it as well after the first maybe 5 or 10 minutes. And then I think
they were looking for us maybe not controlling the ball better because they knew we would want to try and play out and get on. I thought and certainly Slobsly, I thought he was really good tonight for them. I thought he looked sharp. I thought he'd be good. The only good thing is McAllister went down about 5 times.
Oh no!
We're going to take him off in a stretcher. But I thought they hunted in packs. Yeah. And like I said, the first goal we lost, I thought they trapped us, and there was nowhere for us to go. And then either give away a throw in or you give away a corner, and rather than try and play it inside and be a little bit precise. And I thought Liverpool were good at that. And certainly for the first half hour, they had us a little. Not by the neck, because we grew into the game quite well, even though we conceded. But they were certainly putting us under pressure.
I think they did really well in terms of the player on the ball. Didn't seem to have many options.
Correct.
I know, that was the thing, but I felt sorry for Andres Garcia so much for that mistake, because the first half an hour for him, he was fantastic. He was so good down that right wing. The amount of times where he had no reason to win the ball back himself, and he was able to do so. Fantastic crosses in. He was having a brilliant game. And then, as you've just said there, he was getting trapped. There was nowhere to go. And perhaps is that when a little bit of inexperience tells you? You could see his hands went straight up on his head instantly. He knew the error he made.
Yeah, I think he was disappointed. I think as a footballer, you make a glaring error like that, it is disappointing. But I think he reacted really well. I don't think he dwelt on it too much. And like you say, he played well up until that point. I think when you are playing well, even if you do make a mistake, it is easy to come back from. If he was having a sticky 30 minutes, then he made that error, then it'd have been difficult to bounce back.
We have to point the finger at Garcia, but to be honest, I don't think we can. I think he gets caught with the ball. I think 2, 3, 4 moves prior to that, we don't need to get ourselves into that position. And even though we have, and like I said, they've trapped us in there, there was nowhere for Andre to go. I still don't think, I know he's tried to play it out and he's tried to keep it, he's tried to keep the play going, he's tried to keep our flow going. But at that time, there's 1, 2 passes prior to that can maybe go up the line and miss Garcia and put it into an area where Liverpool don't have the ball in our final third for Salah to have a tap in. Listen, it's a learning curve. It's a big game for us tonight. And they made mistakes and we made a couple of mistakes, but we bounced back so well to finish the first half 2-1 up. We really did.
And it was, like you say, on the stroke of half-time there as well. So Tielemans' goal first and foremost. And that was just when Villa were really starting to get themselves back into it. And it was great to see that they faced adversity for that goal to be relatively gifted to Liverpool. For them to then come back there, as James was just saying, and then for Tielemans' goal as well, great to see him on the score sheet. Second goal in the Prem this season.
Get in the box. Listen, you won't believe this, but I was sitting on the main stand and I filmed the goal live from the free kick. I'll tell you who does brilliant for the goal, Tyrone Mings.
He does, yeah.
Because if he doesn't win the header, the ball then doesn't flick over and Tielemans doesn't have a shot on target. So everybody played their part in it, from the back post to the big man and then the finish. And it was kind of what we needed right then. We needed a little bit of a breath, a little bit of a pick-up almost, because the game was almost getting away from us. And that's why I'm saying they showed brilliant character, the lads. They really did. And it was a super goal, wasn't it?
It was a really good goal. I think that the ball first and foremost, and I think the initial header from, I think it was Canarse was well defended, but like you say, Ty did really well.
Tyrone
I thought
was unbelievably good.
For the game in the main, Tyrone was really good. Certainly early on when we were under pressure, he made some really vital clearances.
Yeah, like I say, at both ends then, he's been vital today, hasn't he? And like you say, the fact that however many corners they got, it was always Tyrone Mings' head that it managed to find. We really missed him, so great to see him back. And he was getting knocked about a fair bit as well, but again, testament to the player, measure of the man, that he was able to pick himself back up and just continue to do his job.
Yeah, I think he was like you say, really good in both boxes. Certainly early on when we were under a bit of pressure, he made some really good interceptions and clearances. So I thought Tyrone was really impressive.
Well, I think they gave the man of the match to Van Dijk, which I'm like.
I saw Salah on my app. That is though. That's on
maybe I thought maybe he was just speaking to the thing. I don't know whether he was getting an award, but I certainly thought that Tyrone played so well, was a rock for us. I spoke before the game, and I say this all the time about defenders. You need to smell danger. You need to smell a danger. You need to see a pass. You've almost got to see something coming through even before it happens. And I thought the big man was absolutely fantastic. He really was. And yeah,
I thought Zazie was good next to him as well.
Yeah, he did.
First time I've seen
Absolutely.
him. I think certainly on the ball, he
looked like a
really
winger.
calm
He was a
and-
winger at one point. I was like, where's he going? Honestly, he ran about 25 yards waiting for someone to tackle him, and nobody would tackle him. So he got in. Listen, and that's what you need as well. You need a little bit of expression, that solo drive for him and driving the ball forward. That's what we need to do. If we're going to be a top team, someone has to do something out of the ordinary to drive the ball forward, get it into a box, or get us a corner and free kicks.
You know what the word you just used there that I really liked was expression?
Yeah.
And that was definitely what we saw from Villa today, which we didn't really see from Ipswich all that much, but it was the expression today. And that certainly led then to the second goal, where a whole build-up play, Luca Dean crossing it in from the left, Ollie, as he always is, right place, right time, 12th goal of the Premier League season.
The goal starts
behind Gabby.
The goal, Kate, starts from Asensio.
Yeah.
He gets the ball in the middle of the park, and there was a gap a lot of times where Ollie Watkins has a big gap in front of him. And that's where I want Ollie Watkins, is either back behind to make sure he holds the ball up or on the side. And Asensio, he doesn't even look, he just plays the ball in. And then he takes a touch, gets it out. And the best thing Ollie Watkins did there, and I'm shouting, get in the box, because he's got time to get in the box, and Digne puts the cross in and Ollie scores the header. It was an absolutely brilliant goal, and it comes from Asensio, but it comes more importantly from Ollie Watkins. His touch, the build-up, and then he could easily have just stood and admired the nice little putt and the ball getting in the box. I'm like, get in the box. As a striker, you leave it, you give it, you get it, you get in the box, and that's where he got his goal tonight.
Well, should we hear from Ollie Watkins then?
Oh,
he spoke to the team after today's game.
Well, Ollie, that was a fantastic game to watch. What was it like to play in?
Yeah, it was tough, first half, they made it difficult for us. There wasn't too much space, especially for myself. No space to run into and playing against two world-class centre-backs. But, you have to pick your moment. And, I felt we played really well. We had chances come the end of the game. And I think minimum a point is deserved. It's a shame we couldn't take 3, but, it's positive.
I mean, you always knew Liverpool were going to create chances in the second half, going in 2-1 ahead, but you dealt with that, and it was still a very evenly contested game, even in the second half.
Yeah, I felt they got lucky for the second goal. To be honest, we were in control, we're in a good shape, making it hard for them. They didn't really create too much. Obviously, Nunes has that big chance, but I think he may have been offside. So, yeah, I felt like the boys felt comfortable. And it's a shame we couldn't get 3 points, but. We're unbeaten here at Villa Park for a long time now, and we're making it really hard for teams. They hear the atmosphere, they see the way we play on the front foot, and we're comfortable on the ball, and we make it really hard for them.
12 goals in the Premier League, closing in on the 20.
Yeah, look, it's been a difficult season for me. I think I've made that clear, and I think people have seen that. But I'm just focusing on doing my best every game. I think we've got 12, 13 games now, score as many goals as possible. I think we can really push on in the Champions League and the FA Cup, and we can win something this year, so it's exciting, and I'm feeling back to my best now.
Excellent, thank you very much.
Yeah, great to hear from Ollie Watkins there and his 12th Premier League goal of the season. And at the start of the season, it was always the 20, bidding for that 20, the elusive. It was 19 last season, an XG of 17. And he's just said himself there that he feels like it's been a bit of a difficult season for him so far. The numbers are still right there, though.
Yeah, impressive. I think Alan's probably more qualified than I'm to talk about centre forwards. But
We've seen your compilation of goals now.
James, he looks back and even the games we've played so far, and he'll think he should be sitting in 14, 15. But that's just it for a striker sometimes, You'll hit little patches. The only good thing is, when I'm shouting at him to get on the box today, is for chances, they will fall for Ollie. I mean, sometimes when he does an interview, I'm always like, he looks a wee bit down, and I hope he's down because he didn't get 2 goals, for instance. But I think he just expects so much from himself, James, that he carries the weight of the club almost as a striker on his shoulders for us, and he doesn't realise how good a job he's doing. And I'm sure when he wakes up tomorrow morning, he'll feel a little bit better about it.
Yeah, I think for strikers, he's got on the score sheet tonight, hasn't he?
Yeah, absolutely.
And I think if he's not getting the chances, and
no,
that's where the problem will lie. But I think he does offer so much more than the goals that he scores. His work rate, certainly as a lone striker, is valuable for the way the team play. Yeah, so I think his numbers overall since he's been at the club are really, really impressive.
Yeah, well, he won the Playmaker Award last season, didn't he, for the most amount of assists? And it is that. It's the extra strings to his bow that we know that he's got. And you feel like you only appreciate Ollie Watkins as a footballer when you watch him live, because you see him off the ball and you see how much extra he does then for the team to really soften them up as well.
And you see how good his build-up play in terms of, I mean, when you've got the likes of Van Dijk and Konate and name another centre-half, over your back, pulling at you. You know, you want to turn away and there's nowhere there because his foot's there and turn. His hold-up play for us is really good, and it's not really genuine until you watch Ollie how good he is. The only thing I want him to do, I want him to go there and make those runs in between defenders and fullbacks that someone plays the ball. Liverpool do it all the time. Every time Van Dijk's on the ball, he looks to play that diagonal in behind, and the starting position for Liverpool are wide, right on the touchline, and that's what gives it. Well, certainly Salah. Salah doesn't come off the touchline, and it also then gives them the opportunity to control the ball and then go and take someone on. So, you know, there's a couple of things I would hope that we've taken just to learn the way Liverpool are playing if they're going to be the best team and win the league. And there's other things that we do so well that maybe people don't realise just how well some of the individual players do, and certainly Ollie Watkins is one of them.
And we teed up the start of our pre-game show with Ollie Watkins closing in on Gabby Agbonlaho's record. He was within 4 going into today. Of course, that's been reduced to 3 now. That's a record that is hopefully going to be achieved in a lot more limited time than Gabby as well. So it's no mean feat.
No, it's like I said earlier, his numbers are so impressive. Is this his 4th or 5th season at the club, and to be reaching that milestone already is testament to himself. And like Alan says, he offers a lot more than the goals that he scores. He's vital to the way the team play, and like you touched on, he creates a lot of goals too.
So going in at half-time, we're 2-1 up then at that point. The crowd is into a frenzy at this point. I mean, the Liverpool fans were fantastic there, but also the Villa fans were giving it back. And the whole atmosphere around the place was just electric when they were coming out for that second half. We got the same amount of football again there. It was just 2 teams going hammer and tong.
We got them a little bit of a sucker punch with the second goal, to be honest, because I think they were kind of almost floating to half-time, and you saw me earlier on speaking to Arnie Slot, and he very kindly spoke to me, and just talking about the game in general, and he said we went in at half-time and it was as though we didn't deserve to be behind. You know, they felt a bit like that, James, you know, as though they'd done enough certainly not to be behind.
Yeah, I think the timing of the second goal, you'd imagine Liverpool were just trying to get to half-time and regroup and come again in the second half, and I think certainly with the chances they'd had early on in the game, you would be going in at
well, he did say,
to
be fair, he said he thought they'd had enough chances to win the game, to be fair.
Yeah, but then if you went to Aston Villa, then we'd be saying the same.
He did say that, you know, the second half was a bit like that, and it was a really good fight.
Unstoppable force, a movable object, as our producer Jack is well informed me. That's what the saying is.
He's very good, Jack.
He's very cultured.
That might be the first time he's ever got anything right, to be fair. Sorry, Jack.
But there's a turn of phrase anyway, and it was true.
But he's obviously disappointed because they've dropped points and they're going for the title. You know, we're going for a place in Europe, and it's a super point for us. But in terms of overall play, probably a point was, I mean, we just had as many chances they did, really, didn't we? I know that Nunes has a big chance, doesn't he?
Oh, yes.
Yeah, that was a big chance to win the game. I'm not sure he'll like to see that one back, but I think both teams were evenly matched today. There was chances at both ends.
Yeah,
I think we take more out of the game. Sorry, Kate.
No, please.
I was only going to say, I think we take more out of that game than Liverpool do, and that's an important learning curve for us in terms of our home form. Again, we're undefeated. We played one of the big guns. And, you know, we gave them a little bit of a bloody lip in terms of they're probably coming here thinking we go 1 up early in the doors, we win 2 or 3 nothing, and that wasn't the case. And I thought the guys, honestly, I speak about character and I speak about learning as the game goes on, who you're against, how he's playing, how he's, you know, you pick up little intricacies from players that you play against quickly, and you're like, well, I know what he likes it on this side or whatever he does. And I thought we were brilliant with that tonight, because they're a good team, Liverpool, make no bones, they're a good team.
No, so they're now 5 points clear, I believe, at the head of the table from Arsenal then. And Villa, a well picked up point here. But it is that, when you can look on the face of it and say, right, we picked up 2 points from Ipswich and Liverpool then. However, I would flip that and say, Liverpool, league leaders, they've been running away with the title. For them to come here and for Villa to be able to come back in only a few days and to put up that calibre of performance, they weren't bad. It wasn't a bad performance against Ipswich whatsoever. But to put up that level of football that we were seeing there, testament to the team.
Yes, certainly. I think obviously the weekend would have been a disappointment, but I think both teams will probably leave tonight with quite happy with the point. Certainly with Villa having Chelsea at home again at this weekend, it's a big opportunity to get the win. And I think at the end of that week, if that is to happen, they'll probably look back on it and think it's been a decent week, to be fair.
Another unbeaten game at Villa Park then for Villa. The only defeat in the Premier League has been Arsenal right at the start, when arguably they were the better team anyway. So again, against the league leaders this time, Alan.
Yeah, exactly. And I go back to the character the boys showed when you go 1-0 done after, what was it, I don't know, 15, 20 minutes, whatever it was. And it's a good point for us tonight. And it sets us up just nicely for the weekend. There's another big team coming here on Chelsea. We'll go into the game maybe even favourites to turn them over, because they've had a couple of bad results. They got a right spanking by Brighton, and
Yes.
we might think we can, possibly turn them over.
Yeah, exactly. There you go.
Bye, Mr. Fowler.
Probably Fowler there, just walking
coming
past.
up? No.
TNT have got off air even before us. Such
Sorry,
is the slave
boys,
driver
sorry.
that I am
know,
currently,
boys.
that having you two here, that TNT are even finished before us though. But right, looking ahead to the weekend, a chance to build momentum, to build form. That's what we wanted to see again today. Alan, we've got that. So driving on to Chelsea, you've just said there, the fact that they've been defeated twice by Brighton, and this is now a good time to catch them.
I think so, because there's a huge uncertainty about Chelsea now. Because at the start of the season, a lot of people were thinking, he's come in, what's his name, Maresca?
Yes.
And he's turned their fortunes round from looking from what on earth is going on at Chelsea to, this might be a team that could cause a problem. And they did start really well, but they've just had a little time this season where they've looked a little bit vulnerable. And if we play like that, we'll beat Chelsea. Of that I have absolutely no doubt. But replication, you're talking about rest now, recovery. There's a couple of knocks we picked up. It's a quick turnaround. The good thing maybe is that a good thing? 3 o'clock to 5:30 kick. Well, I suppose it gives us another 2.5 hours rest if you want it. But it's certainly another big game for us. And we are Aston Villa. We're a big football club, and you have to be ready to play big matches, and that's what the boys hopefully on Saturday will be ready to do.
Yeah, we won't have Axel Disasi, unfortunately, facing his parent club there after he had such a good game then for this one, which is unfortunate after such a good game.
It is, yeah, I
for
thought
him.
it was really.
But in terms of the positives, our bench looked a lot more loaded of injured players coming back. Matty Cash getting back on as well, coming on for Andres Garcia, who we said, apart from that one slight error then, well, slight error did lead to a goal, but because of that one error though, apart from that, he did still have a good game. So at least these players are coming back. Tyrone Mings, hopefully he's all okay in the morning.
Do you know who we haven't spoken about yet?
Go on.
Marcus Rashford.
Oh, good point, actually.
I mean,
Very
and
good
I'm not
point.
saying that we should speak about him or whatever game he had, but again, I thought he did all right and looked lively, James.
Yeah, I think you see in the opposition the threat he possesses with his pace and how he carries the ball. And yeah, I think it's another step in his progression, isn't it?
Does he start against Chelsea?
I think so.
I think he does.
I think he does, yeah.
I think so.
Just because of that threat that he brings in, that the players that the players that the club has now.
Yeah.
The opposition dressing room will be looking at them knowing.
I mean,
that,
to be
that
honest,
they possess such a.
The way we played today, you might have to. There's only a forced change really made Disasi for whomever the gaffer wants to bring in, and that might be the only change, because I've got to say, out with the opening goal where it was a gift for them, I think he was relatively happy the way certainly the first half would have finished. And I think, apart from Disasi, who obviously can't play, it might be that might be the only change for the starting lineup on Saturday.
But that attacking impetus that we have now going forwards to bring on Marlon, who looks so sharp as well there, especially at the end with some key chances as well. So we said beforehand in the pre-match show, the embarrassment of riches that we have in attacking areas now, and even looking at our subs that were coming on, we feel like we're kind of lacking players at present. Then you saw the players who came on, even Ian Maatsen then coming on as the attacking option for Luca Dean at left back there, and everything just driving forwards. When Villa are playing like that, or playing on the transition or the counter with pace, that seems to be when we see them at their best.
Yeah, I think the bench and the players that come on is a sign of where the club is at and the progression it's made. To have the ability to call on players with such talent, and certainly for the last 15-20 minutes when we're looking to win a game, to have that to come off the bench is really important, I think, for the football club, with the amount of games and tournaments that it's attacking on.
Right, lads, that's pretty much us done then. So Alan, I just want to get your overall feeling though on the back of today's game.
I'm delighted.
Good.
I really am. I think if we'd been players in the dressing room now, I think we'd be relatively satisfied. You played a very good team. You know, we've given as good as we've got, and we've created chances. I always say to you about creating chances. We need to create chances, or we're not going to score goals. And it's left us with a bit of momentum going into the weekend. And not only that, just to go back to what you were talking about with players on the bench, that keeps momentum in the game. You know, we're bringing sometimes like for like and fresh legs, etc., but fresh ideas, and that's what we need to have. And I think that's what we have in abundance at the moment in time. So I'm happy, genuinely. I think it's a good point for us, and it sets up the weekend just lovely.
You know what, that's a perfect note to finish on, I think. So, lads, thank you so much for coming back and to speaking to me.
I got here eventually, didn't I?
No, you're starting to look really cold, so I'm conscious that I'm going to let you go. But, lads, thank you so much. Thank you so much for watching. All that is left for me to say is good night and up the Villa.
Thank you.